everybody. Welcome once again to another episode of the Monetize You Show. This is Gail Turner Brown, broadcast entrepreneur and your co-host for the Monetize You Show. As you know, the Monetize You Show is the place to come to learn how to monetize you, your skills, your expertise, your talents, even your hobbies. If you want to figure out how to take what you know and turn it into cold hard cash, then this is the place to be. So once again, as always, welcome once again, everybody. And I always share with you two things, okay? We got two major housekeeping things. Well, they're not housekeeping, but some of it's housekeeping. Anyway, so number one, grab your pens, grab your papers, grab your recording devices or whatever you need to take notes. You are not going to want to miss this show today, okay? We have an amazing topic for you today if you are in business, which 9 times out of 10 you are, because if you're not, you probably wouldn't even be looking at this. And so you want to make sure you are tuning in today with us. Also, I always want to introduce my illustrious co-host, Mr. Best-selling author, Mr. Implementation Strategist, Mr. R.L. Chance. Take it away, Mr. Chance.
All right, everyone. Welcome again to an awesome program of the Monetize You Show. We appreciate you taking the time out this afternoon to be with us. As Gail mentioned, my name is Chance, U.S. Navy veteran, author of the latest book, Monetize Your Skills, upon which our show is based. And we are here to help you take your business to the next level. Now, listen, the holidays are fast approaching. And as we've shared last week, that means if you're in business, you are trying to make sure you end the year on a positive note. No matter what stage you are in business, all of us needs more customers, more clients, more leads so we can have more sales. And today's show will help you to be able to do exactly that. So if you've been, on the fence, if you've been wallowing in business, thinking about giving up, maybe you have an idea to start some kind of a side hustle or business, and you've been wondering, how am I going to get customers? How am I going to get clients? Or you have not been having clients lately. Your business seems to be drying up. Well, guess what? You've come to the well today, because at this well today, we're going to get you fresh water so that you can be able to quench your dry funnel. All right. So if your funnel is dry and there's nobody coming through your pipelines, today's guest will help you to be able to do just that. So let's just do a couple of things. Make sure you invite somebody. Go on Facebook. We are live, of course. So make sure you comment, make sure you like, make sure you share this with your friends and colleagues. Also, make sure you stay at the end as well, because you want to know how we can get in touch with today's guest, but also we have a prize for you. We've been giving away prizes on our last several shows, so we want to make sure we keep that going. So just do me a favor real quick. Again, click like, share, comment below, and we'll be giving a prize to the person who comments the most. But are you ready? Are you ready for today's secrets? Gail, introduce our guest today.
All right. So thank you, Mr. Chance. And I just want to reiterate just one more time what Chance said. Number one, make sure you are sharing this out, okay? Whoever shares the most will earn the most. That's how that works, okay? You got to give out in order to get back. So that's how we're going to play this today. And the other thing is, as we mentioned, look, I love it. I love what Chance said. If your well is dry, get ready to get a fire hose on you today, because we're going to crank up your leads. Because if you don't have no leads, you don't have no business. You don't have no money. Okay, that's how that works. So I had the distinct honor and the distinct pleasure to introduce to you a gentleman that I swear it feels like it's been at least 10 years that I initially met him. He was my coach in learning how to do fast cash. And this is really amazing, because things always seem to go full circle. That's just normally how it works. It goes full circle. So your teaching I am now able to literally interview my teacher. And so that is really an honor for me. His name is Mr. Ken Course. Mr. Ken Course. Mr. Ken Course. Ken is known nationally as, and he's very, this is true. He is a high energy, experiential, and interactive coach. He is the co-founder of Experts Momentum. Did I say that right? Oh, I did. Okay. He is the expert of experts. Ken has been featured in front of over 150 events, both here and in the UK. He has developed 10 multi-million-dollar program launches, and he's been on the stage speaking along with such amazing individuals such as Les Brown, Mark Victor Hansen, Ken Harrington, and Nancy Matthews. So without further ado, let me introduce to you one more time, Mr. Ken Course. Come on down.
So much fun to be here. Thanks for having me. And you're exactly right. It is full circle. And it's funny because you'll remember that when you and I started coaching and working together, technology like this was still pretty new. You know, we were bringing shows together like this and doing coaching sessions like this with, you know, bubble gum and paper clips to try to make it work. And so I love how easy it is. I love the look of your show and all that you put together here. And I'm so excited to share anything I can with anybody. You know, I've been in this space, the expert space, as you mentioned, for 11 plus years now, and really focus, like you both do, on how do you really become an expert in your space? How do you start developing offers that are attracting people, and really the lead generation side? So what are you going to do to make sure that you've got fresh new people coming in as often as you possibly can?
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what we need. And so here is the thing that I noticed, which is what's happening right now. We all have our businesses and we want them to grow. It's like, okay, great. And there's so much noise and there's all of these different pieces of information that's pulling you from one place to another. And so the lifeblood of our business are people, the targeted market of who we want. So obviously the first question is, how do we start? If you're starting from zero, because that's oftentimes right. A lot of times when I hear the gurus talk, they talk to me as though you already have a mature business and you're going, but a lot of people are just starting out. So my first question then is, how do you start from zero and begin to generate leads? Listen, when nobody knows you, you don't have a special name, you ain't no brand, you just starting out. I'm trying to get my first client.
Well, that's actually the thing I'm most passionate about, you know, and that's why I chose the title Expert to the Experts, because really it's exactly what you're describing. When you're starting off in this, and even for me, even though I've been doing this for many, many years, most people don't know who you are. And the interesting thing about that is, you know, as you start putting your strategies together and you start getting into what's hot right now, and even on your previous shows, which I would really encourage people to listen through, where you're talking about Facebook ads and you're talking about e-commerce systems and you're looking at that. If you're going to boil it down to the simplest possible level, it's about relationships. It's about talking to people. It's about doing the simple things every single day. In fact, one of the things I was joking about with somebody I was talking about recently about this space is, you know, everyone says that it's about massive action. Massive action is a good thing, don't get me wrong, but the action that's really going to get you there, and what we're going to talk about today, are simple, consistent actions. Because use this as an example. A lot of you are familiar or gone through a period in your life where maybe you wanted to lose some weight or you wanted to get healthier. If you were to take a massive action approach, you'd probably just stop eating, which is not going to help you, actually. You're going to starve if you do that. Or you're going to do something, you're going to work out too hard, you're going to hurt yourself. What it takes to lose weight successfully is over time, consistent, incremental actions that get you where you want to go. And so obviously for marketing, you've got to have a few specific things. First of all, you got to have a target. And I'll give some tips today on how do you go research that target? How do you start finding that person? Get familiar with what they like and how to have conversations they like. And then you've obviously got to have an offer. So you got to have something that says, all right, what's the first thing that they do with you? Or where do you start based on where you are? And especially for those of you who are starting from absolute zero, you're actually in a great position. Because if you do some of the homework we talk about today, then that means you'll have better offers. You'll know more about what words you should use or how to attract people or the specificity of what makes a really good offer. And then from there, you got to have some sort of system that they go into that really says once they've bought your first thing, what's the thing that takes them to the next step and the next step? So there's homework pieces, and I'll give some assignments on today's call. But let's talk about research for a second. And this may have been covered in some of your previous episodes, but for those of you who don't realize, all of these businesses out there today, YouTube, Google, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, all of them, they're all just really big sources of data. They're really big sources of data. And especially with Facebook, for those of you who haven't looked into this side of Facebook, you actually have many different ways that you can look into that data, that you can look at your competitors, that you can look at people that have similar businesses to you, that you can look at your model companies. And Facebook has this wonderful tool for those of you that haven't used it called Facebook Insights. So for those of you who have never used this tool, it's if you go in as if you were going to place an advertisement, so you go into the ads manager area, you'll notice at the top in the drop-down menu, there's something that's called Facebook Insights. And so what I would encourage you to do is this. First of all, I want you to think of who is the perfect person for you. And if you have an existing customer already, I'd actually prefer you to use that person as opposed to using a fantasy person. But if you've never sold anything in your life before, use a fantasy person. And here's some questions to ask. First of all, where does this person live? What are they looking for? How old are they? Are they married, single? What's their education level? Just really boil down, what do I know about this person? And what do I know based on what I'm trying to give them? What problems can I solve? Or what do I need to learn about them? What do I need to learn about what they care about? And the beautiful thing about Facebook Insights is this will guide you through a process that lets you see the type of content and lets you see the type of pages, gurus, experts, even the last car they purchased for the most part. You can actually see that information in Facebook Insights, which will really give you an idea that says, all right, what types of things do they like? So in Facebook Insights, the most important thing you're going to find is you're going to find the various pages that they like and the various groups that they're a part of. So for all of you who need to put content together or you're not sure how to start talking to your audience, that's the first step. Go look at those other pages. What are they sharing? What types of images do they use? What type of text are they sharing? What are their posts looking like? Do they do video or do they not do video? All of those things are giving you the model. So that way you're not creating any of this from scratch. You're looking at it saying, all right, I know that my particular people like this type of content, this type of thing. So that when you start to build that out, you start to build out things that are attractive to your people, that it's very easy for them to go, oh yeah, I like that. And know the types of things that they like rather than guessing. Too many of us that are experts, we think we know the answer. And in some ways we do. Like I know the answers when somebody sits down and asks me a marketing question, I know how to answer their question. And normally I'm a few steps ahead of them because I've been doing this a long time. So the thing that is easy to get stuck in is we kind of forget about what it was like to be a beginner or the first time that we experienced that problem or where our customer is right now. Like you said, and even with your previous guests, it's that, you know, sometimes you start a few steps ahead. We're like, we think you're ready for Facebook ads or we think you're ready to do this thing. And you want to learn those things. You want to be familiar with what's going on. But for some of you, this is the first step. It's saying research. Look at what other people are doing. Spend an hour playing in the insight tool, seeing the types of pages, seeing the images, seeing the videos, seeing the content. Look at their offers. Look at their pages. None of this that you create, whether it's your very first website or your millionth, should really be something that's totally brand new that the world has never seen before. You want to be looking at how does this work and what systems are working? And especially if there's something that you're seeing over and over and over again,
That's right.
that which right now, Facebook Live is the great thing you're seeing over and over and over again, that should really give you some clues that that's something that needs to go into your calendar, that needs to be something that you do.
Exactly.
And so that's the first step, the research step.
Okay,
and so
let me stop you right there, because that's a lot.
Yep, exactly.
So, good start. Good start.
So, a chance. Just before you start, I want to say hello to everybody over in Periscope land. I saw Dr. Tachi come through. So hello, and totally appreciate you guys being there. I just want to mention, just in case we don't get a chance to acknowledge you right away, because we're like totally want to hear everything that Ken is telling us. I just want to let you know we see you. I'll try to address you as things go on, but just want to make sure that you do know we see you. So hello, appreciate you being here. Take it away, Chance.
No, well, also with that, feel free to comment as well, introduce yourself. We want to say hello to our guests on Facebook as well. We appreciate you guys being there. Make sure you like, comment, share. Again, right now, what are we doing? We're actually talking with Mr. Ken Horst, who is teaching us how to turbocharge our lead generation. Because again, as Gail mentioned, no matter what business you're in, what industry you're in, we need to keep a constant flow of leads. And also some of our leads, we need to know how to take care of them. So Ken has just shared in this beginning part how to have these three main things in your quiver. Number one is he said that we need to know exactly specifically who you're targeting, right? The other one is you have to have an offer, a good offer. So you need to study that, because you can get a whole lot of leads coming through, and it's good quality leads. But then if your offer, is not up to par, or, your funnel kind of sucks, then we have a problem. So number three, he talks about, that your process, your systems, your funnels, whatever it may be. How do you take your customer on this lifelong journey? So This is an awesome thing, and we're glad that you're sharing that. So in order for us to get those three pieces, Ken says we have to start with some research. All right. So research. But it doesn't cost a whole lot of money, according to what he said. I think Facebook is free. Is that Audience Insight tool free, Ken?
It's free.
It
exactly.
is free. Okay.
Yep. It's the best price. And even beyond that, all these tools are free. Google has a research tool you can use. There's also a free version of Alexa, which is another very popular tool that you can get that's owned by Amazon. So, and again, this isn't something I want you to get lost in forever. It's not something that you have to do forever, but you want to do your homework first. You don't want to start from scratch. You don't want to go, all right, well, I'm just going to guess what my audience likes and start at that point. So these are all the best price, FREE free. So that's where we start, to take the time to research the pages, to get familiar. And one other thing I would say, especially for you new people out there, don't be intimidated. And that's the other thing a lot of people see. They go, oh, well, this person has so many followers, or they have their things so together, or they do so much content. Mm-hmm. Remember, it's not necessarily about you're going after the big guy, or you're trying to be the person that has a team that does this stuff, or has someone who's been doing it for them for years, or a community they've been building. It's just a matter of getting familiar with, all right, these are the formats people like. These are the conversations people like. And then based on what I know and what I'm bringing to the party, which is something totally new. The fun part about this for all of us is, no matter what, and all of us on this call right now are entrepreneurs, we're business owners, and we'd all talk about this in different ways. We all have things that we've done, some that worked for some and some that didn't work for others. We all have our different experience and our different angle. Even when you're looking at your competitors, you probably do something in a different way than they do. So as you're working on that offer and you're starting to think about that, you go, all right, first of all, I've done my homework, and I said, these are the types of offers that I like. And so normally at this point, this is when a lot of marketing coaches or a lot of people would send you into what I would, nicely call the systems Armageddon, where you go, oh, now I need my website, now I need my e-commerce, and now I need those things. And I'm actually going to do the exact opposite. What my opinion is, and Gail will be very familiar with this, is I want you to come up with a few ideas of what that offer is going to look like, or what that first step is going to be for people. And you're not going to build a website, and you're not going to build a web page, and you're not going to do a webinar, and you're not going to do any of that. In fact, a lot of people will remember when these platforms were all launched, and even to this day, some people still call it that, they weren't called social media. They were called social networks. And for a lot of people, they don't use these platforms at all to social network. And they forget that you can use these platforms to reach almost anybody. You can get out and start getting into direct one-on-one conversations with people right away. Today, you could do this. So how do you do that? A lot of people would say, where do I start? So when you started doing that research, you'll see pages and you'll see groups that people like. And in fact, Facebook groups and LinkedIn groups are probably the two biggest sources of leads that most people I know are not taking any advantage of at all. They're going, oh, well, I could start my own group and I can start to recruit and get people going that way, which is good. And that may be a part of your strategy overall. But are you participating in these groups? And most of all, are you finding conversations where you could answer a question, or you could provide some value, or something that maybe even the owners of the group don't know, that you can answer that question, and then you can get into a one-on-one conversation with somebody. So for a lot of you, that is, before we even say build anything, we've got to start getting into those conversations. And those conversations are so that we can sell something. Because to me, I don't want to build any systems until I've tested something. If I can't prove that in a conversation one-on-one with somebody, either online or even if we jumped on the phone or we're on, Skype or Zoom like this, I need to be able to sell it before I'm going to put all of that investment of time and energy into systemizing it. I have to prove it works. So what I'll normally do is I'll go and I will find various Facebook groups where people are already having conversations, or LinkedIn groups is perfectly great depending on the nature of your business and what you sell. And I'll jump in on some of the conversations. I'll spend 30 minutes to an hour rolling through conversations, seeing where there are opportunities. I'll be answering questions or providing feedback. And then the next thing I do is I will click on that person's profile and I will send them a message. And I'll say, hey, just letting you know, I answered your question or I shared something with you. I've been doing this a long time, or I'm an expert in. And just letting you know, if you want some more help or you want to have another conversation, let's have a quick conversation about this. Right. And that right there, for a lot of you, can actually be, not only the tip that gets you to your first sales, but that can be the thing that really gets you up close to your first 6 figures. For a lot of you who say, I don't have anybody to talk to, there's millions of people out there who are having conversations already. And that is normally where it starts. So if you do that, and you have a few one-on-one conversations and you're talking to people and you're sharing what, your ideas for what you think your offer is going to be and, kind of what it's going to do, and you're practicing that conversation, and you find that it's not working, you've saved yourself a lot of time, a lot of pain, a lot of heartache, a lot that you might pay to a marketing expert like me or somebody else, and going like, great. And I know, who does that? I'm the marketing expert that's putting myself out of business. But at this point, for a lot of people, if you can't sell it, you shouldn't systemize it, because then the part that you talked about after that is saying, great, I want to build systems, or, the popular term for it right now, I want to build funnels, or I want to build an automated process, but I don't want to build those things around things that don't work. I want to make sure that I can prove, great, I can get money in my PayPal account, I can get money in hand, somebody can send me a check, I can go out to Starbucks and sell it to somebody there. Whatever it is, it's proven success. And that proven success creates momentum. That's exactly why my company is called Explore Momentum. It says, great, I've proven I can do it. Even if it was a free challenge or it was a $5 product or whatever it is, now I know I can do it. Now I've got the result. And then we build on our results as opposed to building just on ideas and theories. So again, let's talk about offers for a second. So what are great offers? Because you brought that up. And to me, the biggest thing that I've experienced, both in the time that I've been a marketing professional, I've also run a marketing agency for many years as well, where I've specialized in things like Facebook ads or Google ads or funnel builds or all of those things. And the number one thing is bad offer. And bad offer starts with what I just said. Bad offer means you've never tried to sell it in your life before, or you're totally making it up from scratch, and I can't prove that I can sell it. I can't prove that someone else wants it. It's a great idea and it feels right to me because I'm the expert. But first of all, I got to prove I can sell it at least once. And for most of you, you've got somebody that you can get in front of, or you can do what I just suggested and have, I know people who source 50 to 100 leads a day that way, who are their workhorses, and that's what they do. But they'll get in those groups, they'll direct message people. People are like, thank you so much for answering my question. And then they jump right over to work with that person. This happens at networking events all the time too. In fact, I love in-person networking events. I go to them all the time. I'm the weirdo that actually likes them. Most people don't love them, but I like to go to them because, again, even if somebody else is hosting it, I've got value, I've got offers, I can get in those conversations, and I can prove what works and what doesn't. I can go, oh, this offer really seemed to go well when I was talking about this, but then I talked to Gail and she didn't really like, my special that I had, or she didn't think that was a fit for her, or it wasn't working. So the good news is I save myself tons of time. And so for a lot of you, it's have those conversations. And I highly recommend that you have a minimum of 10 conversations about this thing before you even start building it out. Just prove the model and see what do your stats look like. If you sell it 10 out of 10 times, that's absolutely something that you should, start looking at bigger strategies, start building out your system, start building out your funnel. But if you find that you have 0 out of 10 or 1 out of 10, or it's really not working, it gives you a chance to refine, gives you a chance to adjust. And that's what a lot of us need to do. So again, that type of one-on-one networking, something that's really been lost, and especially since people call it social media now, they think of it like you would think of television, or they think of it like you would think of, traditional media, when in reality, it's still a fantastic leads are going to come from that type of networking. And then if you're already moving ahead in the space, these are people that you want to add to your team, who do that kind of messaging, that know how to have those conversations, that can go out and do that. Because again, they're going to be warmer even than advertisements. They're going to be warmer than any of these systems that you've got. They're going to have some sort of relationship, and they're going to have context. They've met you somewhere that they already were, that they already chose to join, or they already liked, and that really helps you over time. So again, good offers. Obviously, you got to have a human. We talked about that. Who's the person on the other side? You got to solve a problem for them. So a good offer solves a problem. It says, all right, I've got this issue, and the best example, it's kind of a cliche one these days, but I still love it, is you think about someone that's got a headache, and you've got two businesses. You've got one that offers aspirin, which they take the aspirin and their headache goes away within a half an hour, and you got a vitamin over the next 30 days. You'll never have headaches again for the rest of your life. Which offer is the client going to go for? They're going to go for the aspirin.
Right.
They're going to go for the thing that goes, this is the problem I have right now. And since you've done your research, you've done your homework, you're out having conversations and actually talking to people in the real world, it should be pretty obvious what it is, what your aspirin is or what the problem is that you solve. Yeah. And then you've got to have, clarity around what is the pricing on that offer. And if it's a free offer, that's fine too, for some of you where you're starting. But wherever you're starting, you got to be very clear on, what is the price of that offer. So for a great offer, person, problem that you solve, and price or offer, what it is. Okay. And then you got to have conversations to start. Right. Does that all make sense so far?
Yeah, awesome. Totally makes sense. And of course, like I said, this is a lot. This is really taking us through. And one of the things I liked about Ken is that he could take complex information and he can Gale proof it. Okay. It's like, if I can understand it, then we're good. Okay. Because you gotta make it me proof. And that's how that works. Right. So, so we're coming down to the 30-minute mark. This is going by really fast. So, I want to once again say to everybody, welcome. Appreciate you being here. This is the Monetize You Show. I am Gail Turner Brown, your broadcast entrepreneur and co-host for the show, and we are talking to Mr. Ken Kors. We're talking about how to get a ton of leads. Because guess what? There are 7 billion people on the planet. So there should be no such thing as I don't have anybody to talk to. And and Ken right now is talking to us about, how to make sure that pipeline is constantly filled. Okay. Right. Uh-huh. So before we go further, I think Mr. Curtis, I think you have a slide that comes through. I want to make sure to thank our sponsors today, the Cell Phone Video Store. And as Chance mentioned in the beginning, because of the Cell Phone Video Store, we are going to have a special giveaway for you today. Some lucky winner is going to win a cell phone microphone. So we need to make sure that you are asking questions, that you are sharing out, that you're talking to us, okay? Because that's how we're going to determine who gets the lucky prize for today. And then the other thing is later on, during the show, we're going to talk to you about, guess what's coming up? Black Friday, Small Business Saturday, and Cyber Monday. Those are the three biggest days of the year for those who are in business. And you're going to want to make sure that you are ready, that you are prepared to show and sell. So we're going to talk to you about something we have cooking that's going on to allow you to participate in that, so you can get in front of as many people as you possibly can to jumpstart your business. So with that, Chance, I'm going to throw it back to you so we can continue our conversation with Mr. Ken Horse.
All right. Well, Ken, we want to give a shout out. I just see it's interesting. You're on the show, but I just saw a comment coming through from Ken saying he wants that microphone.
I'm like, I want a cell phone microphone.
So that's why when you see us looking down, sometimes we on this thing chatting as well. But I want to say what up to Kimberly. Kimberly is on. Dr. Tachi also. She's on this side and that side. Michael, who is also always a faithful viewer. And so we want to thank you guys again. Appreciate your comments. Do like, do share, and take notes. Now, Ken, this should be a given.
Right.
It really should be a given, but I just want you to kind of, briefly tell people, why is it important for us to have leads? And exactly, what is lead generation? For example, someone, is new. You have the newbies or people starting, or we don't give it as much importance, if you want to put it that way, because like we said, there's some people we're in business, especially authors, coaches, speakers, and people like that. Business might be slow, things might not be going here, why, and they're putting it on these other things like you mentioned. It probably because I don't have my business card, I don't have my website, and so they're putting the reason for, the dip or the not so doing well on external causes. Why is it that having enough leads is so important? And exactly what is it when we say lead generation?
Sure. So, what I've really covered at the beginning of this call, and I know it's been, for some of you, this is the foundation. This is the foundation of your business. It's the foundation of marketing. And you might say, I'm advanced. I'm past this. I hear that all the time, actually. A lot of people I mastermind with and a lot of people I work with lose sight of the foundational principles of how does a business work? What makes a business successful? And what makes a business successful is, again, you have a great product or a great series of offers. You have systems which allow you to grow that business and scale that business. And then you have, over time, you have the ability to scale. So that really says, all right, over time, the business isn't just about you trading time for money. It isn't just about you, being all things to all people and what you do. In fact, a lot of the people I've been working with lately, and one of the spaces that's always been a big one for me is a space that I call like alternative health practitioners or healing, the healing market. Yeah. Because they're people that, like you just described, are people that have spent years and years getting certified and learning an art or learning a discipline like Reiki or yoga or coaching or healing. And they go, well, in my perfect world, I'd just be working with people all day. Well, that's what we want. And so a lot of us forget that we're in the business and that most of us, the second we hang our sign up, and the second we go, all right, I am now a business, I'm Explore Momentum, or I'm Ken Course, the business, that all of us stop being in whatever business we're in, because most of us think of ourselves as going, all right, well, I'm in the coaching business, or I help train experts and I launch experts and I teach them marketing or lead generation or those strategies. When in reality, the business really has 5 components. And I broke it down into what I call SMART. So basically, SMART is the systems in your business. So let's break them down. So you got sales, you got to sell something. You got marketing, which is you got to have conversations and you got to have new people coming in that consistently are hearing about you for the first time or who have no idea who you are. You got to have accounting. So that means once money's coming in, you have to make sure that it's going to the right places, it's feeding the business, or it's, you're keeping as much of it as you can. You got to have a retention strategy. So retention's the R, which basically says, again, what are the systems that sit behind us that make customers buy again and again and again? We want to keep our customers. We want to retain them over time. And then the last one's technology, which again, that's your systems piece. That's what keeps people engaged. That's what helps you make money when you're sleeping. And really the end of that smart system. So again, sales, marketing, accounting, retention, technology. The end of that is really where scale happens. Because when we're talking about lead generation, the marketing concept, which is where we get into the fun stuff, like the Facebook ads and the e-commerce and all that stuff, our lead generation strategy is really systemizing what I just told you how to do, which is systemizing your research, testing to find out what worked, and then building systems around what worked. And the lead generation strategy are just what are the ways that you're going to bring new people into that conversation. So for those of you starting from absolute zero, absolute scratch, you've got to start having conversations today, now. In fact, have 10 of them before the end of the day. It's only going to be 4 Eastern, and I know a lot of you are on the West Coast that are watching this. So a lot of you got the rest of your day to go have 10 conversations. I know for some of you that's terrifying. When I put that out there, you're like, I love the research part, and I was following you when you said the systems. I used to joke because what's funny is I'm actually like a fairly extroverted tech guy, which that's rare in the industry. People like the tech and like to be extroverted. But I used to joke that social networks and social media are really like what us introverted tech type people created so that we didn't have to socialize with people. And so a lot of people who dig into social media and dig into that stuff do so because they don't actually want to socialize with people. So lead gen, again, it comes after that testing, comes after that kind of social networking, comes after that. All right, how do I make sure that I've got a result and I can expand on that result? Mm-hmm. And really, again, it's systemizing that conversation. So that conversation can take place when I'm not there. That conversation doesn't require me to be in it. It's what takes it from being one-on-one to being one-to-many, which that, again, is the pivot point for most businesses. Yeah. When they stop focusing on one-on-one, which some of you, that's where you are. Level 1 of a business is you got your flyer, and you go out and you hand it to people and it's one-on-one, or you've got your idea and you use your mouth and your mouth is your money. And then you've got to find ways that it becomes one-to-many. And again, that's where it gets really fun. During your research phase where you're looking at all these businesses, you're going to see the things they do. And you're going to see a lot of the same common denominators. You're going to see podcasts. You're going to see YouTube channels. You're going to see Facebook Live. You're going to see Facebook groups. All of these are things that I personally have in my business and advise most of my clients to do. They have Facebook pages. They have Instagram. They have LinkedIn. They have Twitter. Now, this is the other thing that starts to happen is, again, when I throw all that out, you go, well, do I need every single one of those? For those of you at the beginning, absolutely not. You don't need them all. You want to focus your energy with where you're going to perform the best. So for some of you, just use LinkedIn. Like some people will never have to move off LinkedIn because they're a business-to-business service. That's what they do. So coaches, alternative health practitioners, all those people who are looking for businesses to go into. Speakers can use it a lot to find speaking opportunities or companies that are looking for you. LinkedIn is probably one of the best places because people are there for business. They're there knowing, like, great, if you have a business conversation with me, that's totally fine. Wow. But you're going to see the systems that create one-to-many. And so there's 3 ways that lead generation happens. And so I've given you the 2 systems. So SMART is your business, this little system we're talking about. And I'm going to give you one more. So where do leads come from? That's the question I get. Where do these mystical, magical humans that we hear about that are going to show up, where do they come from? There's actually only 3 places that leads come from. Mm-hmm. You're going to do one of 3 things. What I was just talking about is building them. So you can build a lead generation base. You can go out and trade your time, and your marketing is your time. It's your budget that you put into the business. Now, in the build strategy, what I find is a lot of people undervalue their own time, or they don't think about what they're worth. So they get scared of the second 2 that I'm going to talk about. They're going to say, well, if I'm not out networking and spending all that time and doing all the groups and all that thing, then my business isn't growing. And they don't look at these other things because they don't realize that maybe over time they can start to get some of that time back with these other 2 areas. So you can build it yourself, which means you hustle, you work hard, you generate leads. Then the second one is you borrow leads. So this is a great example of borrowing leads. Ooh. So Gail has a show, And she's invited me on that show. And my hope for all of you that are watching this is that you're now going to be part of my community. You're going to love what I said, or you're going to go, he talks really fast. I need to like go see his videos and slow them way down because he covers so much ground. Right. And so for a lot of you, that's borrowing. So that's going to somebody that already has my potential audience or is already talking to my people and saying, great, how do we mutually benefit from this? How do we share? How does your community find out about me? And how does my community find out about you? So I borrow your leads. And so, again, some people might refer to that as partnership. That works too. But it's really saying who already has the audience and who's somebody out there in the world that has, that could really benefit from you being introduced to their community. And all of us, especially these days, this is the funny part of what's changed is almost everybody you'll find has a Facebook Live, they have a podcast, they have a YouTube channel. And so they need people to talk to. You get real bored talking to yourself week in, week out with nobody else there. And so you're like, no, I want to figure out ways. And I do the same thing with my platform. My platform is actually a giant borrow platform where people come into the community. And my goal is for them to find out about the amazing people that I've trained over the years and that work with me. Mm-hmm. And so I'm borrowing those leads, or they're borrowing mine, which says, great. That's another opportunity for us. So you can build them or you can borrow them. And then the last one, which you've talked about a lot, it sounds like over the past couple of weeks, is you buy them. So you buy the eyeballs. You say, great. So those three, just to revisit, you buy, you build, or you borrow. That's the only three places that leads can come from. And in the early phase of your business, it's mostly going to be build. And you want to start looking for opportunities to borrow. You want to start becoming an expert in your field. You want to get interviewed. You want to be on people's Facebook Live shows. And for some of you who are just starting out, don't worry about being on the show that has 1 million people. Like a lot of us have the dream. I always hear this. I want to be on Hay House Radio. I want to be on Oprah. I want to be on those. I want to be on Dr. Phil, whatever it is. That's fine. Have the dream. But for now, be on the Gail show, or be on the Ken show, or be on the whoever show, be on the Kimberly show.
Come on now.
So that way we're sharing, and to bring up Kimberly about that as well. Kimberly, I love her, and I want to share to everybody because she's someone that really buys into that borrow, and a huge contingent of our community was borrowed from Kim. She brought in her people to our community who heard about her. She does organization and that kind of thing, and that's what she talks about. She also does these amazing retreats that she does. And then she brought them to me, who really talks about how do you grow your business and how do you become an expert and how do you position yourself and do all of those things that move you forward. So those are that's what lead generation is. You're either buying, building, or borrowing. And you think from there, one of those three. Now, keep in mind, I do want to revisit, because I mentioned it quickly at the beginning, but this is the key point. Over time, your goal in business, and especially for those of you that are solopreneurs really starting off, you have to understand the value of your time. If you went and got a job and you worked at Starbucks today, Starbucks would give you a rate. They would say you're going to make $15 an hour, whatever it is you make at Starbucks these days. And so you want to know what that rate is for you in your business. You want to look at how much time you're putting in to building your leads and doing all the things in your business, executing the SMART system. You want to look at that and say, what is the value of my time? And for a lot of you, your goal, your first set of goals, needs to be to increase the value of that hour. Because a lot of you, when you do that math, you're not going to like the answer. In fact, I just sat with somebody the other day, and I'm like, you should just go work at Starbucks. I know that's a horrible way to say it, but it's like you put in 100 hours a week, and that equates with your sales and your systems and what you're doing to $4 an hour. You'd probably be a lot less stressed out and a lot happier if you went and worked at Starbucks. And so, but I'm not saying that to say go out of business or quit. I don't say it for that reason, but it's a starting point for you to start buying your time back. So buy and borrow really get you your time back. And in fact, a lot of times placing Facebook ads and becoming a master of that, which it's not that hard, as I'm sure you've heard on some of that. There are times that you've got to make sure that you're executing a good strategy. It's not always going to work, but a lot of times you're buying your time back. And the leads you generate from that, you're not having to spend going to build. So this is why people love Facebook ads. Right. This is why people love Google ads. Right. They go, instead of me going out and having to do the hustle and having to network and having to do all that stuff, I know that I can buy those leads. I know that I can qualify those leads. I know that I can bring them into a system at this point where now I'm going, all right, well, that's all automated now. And I know that there's predictability in there. And I know, but before we end today, that was the last place I wanted to go, was that last piece I talked about of systems, which is really saying, all right, so we've talked about what do you need to do today? For a lot of you, even if you've been in business a long time, I highly recommend that strategy of get out and have a conversation with some people you've never met before. Jump in a Facebook group or a LinkedIn group. Send a direct message. Get them on the phone with you if you can. That's always the best. Sales always happen either in person or on the phone. If you want, especially if it's a larger package, just get on the phone and have the conversation and see how it goes. Right. And see, is this something that has some traction? And then from there, you're going to get an answer, yes or no. This is a good offer. This is a bad offer. Right. When you have some sort of idea that it's a good offer, that's when we start getting into the more technical stuff. And really at that point, that's when we should be looking at things like getting our store page up and running, or getting our website, our landing page up and running, or starting to systemize these things. Because when we systemize what works, then it becomes easier to look at buy, build, or borrow. And we say, now we've gone through a little bit of build. It feels good. It's looking good. And for those of you that already have list, or those of you that have already built some community over time, you actually don't even have to go to other people. You can go to your existing people for your build phase and your test phase to make sure that that works. In fact, a lot of times when I start working with clients, the first tests we run are to their existing list or to the existing people. Do our current people even like this? And if our current people don't like this, then the outside world really won't like it. And if they do like it, that's probably a good indicator that, hey, we can take that forward. And so the systems part becomes really important after that. And really the key in all of this for all of you, again, is to understand that value of your time, and there's two key factors that are really going to determine, is your business scalable? Will it grow over time? And the first is what I just talked about, the value of you as the founder, you as the CEO, you as the business owner. Are you making enough to pay your bills, to pay your rent, to cover your costs? Would it be easier to work at Starbucks? Or there's a lot of you out there who are, in between, where you have a job and you're doing this in your spare time. So you've got to be really vigilant over that time. And then the second thing is, and this is the other factor that determines whether you're scalable, is you want to understand the lifetime potential value of every one of those customers or every one of those leads that walks through the door. So if someone were to walk into your store, or let's use a restaurant, because that's the easiest example. You walk into a restaurant and you hand somebody the menu and they go, I want one of everything. And normally you'd go, that's really weird, but what's your menu? So if someone walks in and they're that customer and they say, I want one of everything. I want all your appetizers, then I want your entrees, then I want the dessert. You have to be very, very clear on that menu. You have to say, all right, I know that they start with this appetizer, and then people who order this appetizer tend to like this type of entree, and then over time, even in your restaurant, you'll see that happen. Like, this is the most common thing. You walk in, you say, what's good here? And then they take you into a sales path. They market to you. They say, oh, well, what's great is the spinach and artichoke dip. That's what you should have. And then they know, and restaurants that are really good with this know, people who order that tend to like the steak, whatever it is. I'm just making this up. In your business, you're going to find that too. So you've got to know that menu, and you've got to say, if someone came through and they bought one of everything, they bought everything from the beginning to the very end, what's the value of that customer? What's the potential value of that person? Because that gives us an idea of how scalable is our business. If the total potential value of that customer over time is $5, then it's probably not a scalable business model. If the total potential value of that customer is $100, you're still going to struggle. That means you probably need something on the higher end. And just to give you some stats, and I'm sure in your Facebook ads episode, you covered a lot of this. For a lot of you who are getting into Facebook ads, especially those of you who are new and aren't totally solid on your target and don't know these testing stats, in general, the cost to get a good lead in the system, and this can vary wildly, is generally about $40 to $60. That's generally what it's going to cost if I'm buying leads to get them into the system. Now, there are plenty of people who've been doing this for many years who know how to look at the data and who can really drive that cost down. Obviously, that's what we're all trying to do. But the cost to get somebody who doesn't know you at all to become somebody that hands you their credit card is generally in that range and sometimes higher. And for most of you, you should be planning on that being a little higher if you're going to do Facebook ads because you haven't done it before. And you're testing a lot. You're testing, is this really my audience? Do they really like this thing? So again, I've given you tools today to cut down on that testing because you've done some of it already. You're not paying for that testing. You're building that testing out. And then going forward, really that's what you should expect. So overall, if I know that my average customer that comes to the door is going to make me $10,000, then I'm totally happy. I have no qualms at all about spending that $40 to $60. And those of you who follow the marketing space are probably familiar with Dan Kennedy, who's been around in the marketing space forever. And he used to say the golden rule of marketing, and I love this because it's so simple, is he or she that will spend the most to get the customer wins. So the reason why the big guys are the big guys, or the gurus are the gurus, or those people are out there, is because they're willing to spend more than you. That's right. They're the person that says, all right, I know that you'll only spend $10 for this lead, and I'll spend $800 for this lead. So you have to spend your $10 800 times before you even get into my domain. Now, I bring this up again for scalability, and this is why systems are so important, because you have to really be able to say. And so once I've done my testing, once I've got that moving forward, that moves us into funnel land. And now you'll hear this all the time. Funnels don't work, and funnels are scary, and funnels are so much work, and and the reality is your funnel, you should already have a strong idea of what it is from your testing. You should be saying, what do people typically ask me? You've already asked, what do people like? What problem am I solving for them? And what do they typically talk about, or what do they typically ask me? So your funnel at the simplest possible level, which funnels don't have to be super complex. It might just be, how do they find out about you, through to how do they get registered for the first show, or how do they get registered for the first training? That's a funnel too. And over time, as you find more and more that works, your entire process can become automated over time. That says, I know I need to spend this money to buy a lead, and I know that person over time is going to be worth this money to me. And so when they go into my process, as much of that process as possible, I'm going to try to automate. I'm going to try to build systems around. And so that's when you need to start looking at the technology. And again, these days, there's so much you can do, with free or very low cost tools. And then there's all the way up through advanced tools like Infusionsoft or ClickFunnels, or all those things that allow you to build these things out. But again, before I get too deep into that, for a lot of you, I want to keep it simple today.
Yes,
the lead gen system, right? The lead gen system at this point is really saying, all right, we've got to research our market. We've got to understand, do we have an offer that we can put together that works? And we're not determining that until we've done some research. And then from there, once we've got some tests, then we start to build some basic systems. Then we start to do things like testing our Facebook ads. Then we start to do things like launching our podcast, or doing a Facebook Live, or developing a challenge, or all these amazing things. But yeah, that's the key. And again, I think we could do a whole other episode where we just talk about the funnel side of the world, or maybe that's
each step by step.
Hey, okay, so here's the thing. As y'all can tell, number one, Ken knows a ton about marketing, okay? And I told you we was going to open up the floodgates, and I think that's what we did. So hopefully, and as you can tell, Ken talks fast. I hope you was listening fast, because that's how this needed to work. So here is the very last thing, okay? Because as you can tell, Ken gave you a ton of information of how to get started, how you can get started for free. And so you don't have any excuse. You got the free 99. But if you want to get known faster, then we're talking about you're going to need to go borrow an audience, and you're going to go buy an audience. Okay, so you got build, borrow, buy. So you're going to have to pick one. So here is the last thing. You have 60 seconds to answer.
Yes.
How do people connect with you? What do we need to do to connect with you?
Well, the reason I know so much about this is what I've been doing, for experts around the world for the last 11 years. I've worked for a variety of different leaders in the industry. As you said, I've worked on campaigns ranging from brand new programs that no one had ever heard of, from experts that no one had ever heard of, all the way up to New York Times bestselling launchers. This is what we talk about every day. Then we get into the nuts and bolts where we talk about those questions you have. What system should I choose? What makes sense for me? What works and what doesn't? Or even more important, I'm trying this thing and I'm not getting the result I want, or this isn't working, or I need someone to look at this and give me some help on what I'm not seeing. Our community is called Your Momentum Now because, as you've heard, I'm a big fan of momentum, continuing on what works. So that's yourmomentumnow.com. I know that's right on the screen right there. It's totally free for you to join. And then we also have a lot of programs that are Kickstart style programs to get you started. So once you've joined the community, you get to learn about those, or you can just be in there and do what I just said, connect with the people. There are incredible people in our group who have put that together. And we focus on really helping you become the premier expert in what you do, or becoming the known expert or the known business in what you do. And I love this industry. I love the community that we've created over there. And again, that's yourmomentumnow.com. If you have any questions.
All right,
awesome.
You heard it. Yourmomentumnow.com. Okay, that's where you get it, man. This went by like really, really super fast. I mean, it was crazy. So thank you, Ken. I so appreciate it. And actually, you struck a couple of chords, because when you talk about borrowing someone else's audience, that's one of the things that we've created, is how to get known faster by getting on other people's podcasts, getting into other people's audiences. So you totally struck a chord. I definitely want to have a conversation with you about that. And so here we go. We're going to kind of transition over a little bit, people, to a couple of things. Number one, as I mentioned, first of all, we have got coming up Black Friday. So if you want to get involved with Black Friday, if you've got a Black Friday special, if you're trying to figure out, OMG, I don't want to do another trade show. I don't feel like standing up all day long, dragging all my stuff. And then, when you go home, it's like, once it's over, it's over. Okay, it's done. It's all over with. Well, we have a solution for you. What the Monetize You show has decided to do is we are putting together the largest home shopping holiday expo for those 3 days. You will have an opportunity to come on to the show, demonstrate your stuff, let people see what you got, and just show and sell. That's what we're calling it. You're gonna do a show and sell. This is the one place that you can come and sell to your heart's desire. Except you got two options. You got a 15-minute space, or actually you have three options. 15 minutes, if you can do it. You can choose a 30-minute time slot. You can choose an hour time slot. If you want the whole hour, then you can do that. We're doing it over the course of all of those days. We open at noon and we go through 7. So we're going to have 7 hours each day. You have an opportunity to choose a time slot, bring your stuff in your home. You can be in your pajamas if that's your thing. But you don't have to go outside. You can come and you can show and sell. We have different packages from which to choose, which provide different benefits depending on what you made a decision to do. So it's right there on the screen. At least it was on the screen right there. I can't do this now.
There it is.
Okay, there we go. Right there on the screen. Go to show and sell. Go make that happen. Okay. That's what you want to do, but you got to hurry up. You got to hurry up because next thing you know, it's going to be here, and we're not going to be able to, and we're going to have a ton. We got all kind of stuff planned for y'all. Okay. So that's what we are doing to provide you that space to do a show and sell for the 3 biggest days to totally jumpstart and kick off your holiday. That can very possibly make you go into 2018 with the bang. So, Mr. Chance, I'm going to go back over to you because I want to find out, do we have an illustrious winner of the cell phone microphone from our sponsor, the cell phone video store, which, by the way, the owner of the cell phone video store, she will be at the expo. She's going to have an opportunity to meet her and see all of the stuff that she has to offer as well. And you're going to get a special discount just because you are one of our fantastic audience members. So, Mr. Chance, I'm going to throw it back to you, sir.
All right. Well, we just want to thank all those who have been joining us on the Periscope and Facebook side. We really appreciate you guys. The comments, actually, the interaction really has been wonderful this afternoon. Again, I don't know how Ken is able to do it, but he's also commenting in here. But we do have some other folks, Olive, welcome. We thank you for commenting as well. But it seems like our top commenter this afternoon has been, I would say, Kimberly Cameron Eagles. 3 names there. So Kimberly, send us a message. Make sure you comment, but don't comment. Actually, go and send us a message on the Monetize You Show with your email, and we will be able to send you out the info so you can go ahead and get your prize. So congratulations.
Congratulations,
all right,
Kimberly.
So thank you, Kim, for all that you're doing. Also, again, as Gail just mentioned, please, I want to encourage you guys. This Black Friday Expo thing is going to be awesome. Again, go to the link. There's only 4 options, right? So you pick one that you're comfortable with. You pick one that is for you. But I want to make sure that you are on there. Again, for those who might not even, you don't feel your camera ready, don't worry. We will help you promote your stuff for you. There's an option there. I wouldn't mind if you send me something, whether it's digital or physical. I'll be willing to be able to talk about your stuff on this show for you. So go ahead and pick an option there, and we will see you soon again on the Monetize You Show. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Ken, for joining us today.
Thank you so much. And we always like to thank our man behind the curtain, Mr. Curtis Brooks from Curtis Brooks Media Production. So he's the one that makes all of this possible, okay? Chance and I come on and we just look cute, but we got somebody back here that's really working hard. So if you are even possibly thinking about hosting your own show, or how does this video stuff work, then Curtis Brooks from Curtis Brooks Media Production is the man you want to talk to. And we always as well want to thank everybody. Hello, Periscope people. Thank you. I see Dr. Tachi over there. Thank you so much for being here once again. And thank you guys for being here, because you guys make the show possible. And I really appreciate the support that you give us. And last but not least, last time, thank you so much, Mr. Ken. I so appreciate you. I hope you're willing to come back so we can do a part 2, because you was just flooding us today.
Oh, yeah.
You was fully
Let's do it.
today. So with that being said, thanks again, you guys. This is where we are every Tuesday at 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central, to bring you yet another episode of How to Monetize You. And as I say at the end of every show, if you can imagine it, you can monetize it. See you guys next week.